Switch it there. Okay, that's my webcam microphone, which is not going to be as good now. Well, there we go. How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay, that's my webcam mic. Oh, there we go. Well, I apologize to everybody who's been listening all this time and haven't been able to hear. The light was on, but it was actually switched off. It was very odd. I just looked down and saw the light and figured, okay, my microphone's on, but what do you know? So I guess everything I said, nobody actually heard. Well, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but basically I was just explaining Idaho Insider. Maybe if you saw it without hearing it, you could get the general idea. It's I was talking about how the purpose of the Gem State Chronicle is more than just news. It's a repository of information. And so I want this to be a repository of information that will help you be a better citizen and be a better voter and better hold your elected officials accountable. So I've got these pages that I'm doing. This is a heading, Idaho State Legislature. Right before I saw Patrick's message here from about 10 minutes ago now, that y'all couldn't hear me. I was talking about Daniel Penny, who was found not guilty by the New York jury. And that's great news. People always talk about, we look at the breakdown of our society and people say, well, where have all the good men gone? You see these videos of horrific attacks occurring in broad daylight and people just walk by. Well, the fact that Daniel Penny was prosecuted and put in prison and dragged through this process is exactly why that happens. Because people are afraid of, being destroyed like that. Imagine you have a family that relies on you. Are you going to go out of your way to do something that could cause you to be locked up? Let's see, Byswinger. No files. So these, for new legislators, for the ones who haven't been in the legislature until now, they don't have their official portraits. So their names and sizes are not completely uniform. Tell me if you see Rob Byswinger, because I don't know what the actual file name is called, so I can't go searching for it. I need to see if I can find it in here. So these are all the pictures I uploaded when I first created Primary Pulse. There he is. All right, let's stick him in there. Make sure it's centered. All right, and this is going to be another little heading, Rob Byswinger, House 8A. Make that an H1, put it in the center, go down again, and then on this side is going to be a paragraph. And over here on my other screen, which you can't see, I have a template and some links to different websites that I'll add here. So what's on everyone's mind? It's a Monday in December. It's very cold. This morning I had my homeschool class where we're studying history. Talked about the lead up to World War II, how each country involved got to the point they did. I emphasized something that Victor Davis Hanson has talked about, how what we call World War II at the beginning was a bunch of separate wars that essentially coalesced into one big war. You had Germany was annexing territories around it. Then Germany and Russia both invade Poland. Russia invades Finland. Germany invades several other countries like Denmark and Norway. You have Japan invading China. Spanish Civil War is going on at this time. So it's a bunch of different conflicts that eventually we call World War II. And I think that's important to remember. All right. On my other screen, I'm going to go search for Rob Byswinger, Idaho 2025. Because they have their new legislative sites up. It's right here. There you go. Oh, hey, he actually has a picture. Let's see if I can actually use it. It's small. I think I'll wait for him to see if he gets an official portrait up there. Any day now, I don't know, somebody could probably tell you better, but any day now the legislators will be getting their official portraits done, and then I'll come through and replace them all on here. And that's fairly easy. So this little bio here is literally what they submit to the legislature, the Legislative Services Office, to put on their legislative website. I don't want to editorialize. I don't want to let my own biases shine through in the way I write about them. So I'm just going to take what they wrote and use it. I'm going to use it there. Change that to a heading. All right, let's come over here. His committees, I just copy straight from the legislative website and put them right there. They link to the committee itself, so you can just go there and see what the committee's up to. History, it is his first term. He was technically, no, he was elected. First elected 2024. Some of the folks, Cornell Racer, Representative Racer, and Senator Brandon Chippy were first elected this year, but they were also appointed because their predecessor resigned just before the end of the session. So scorecards, he obviously has nothing because he is new. So I'll put little NAs there. Obviously, as we get going in the new session, we'll have information there. Legislative website is here. Campaign website is here. And I know he has some social media accounts. So go over to his website and I can find those things. I am the proven conservative leader in the race. Yeah, Representative Beiswinger is a good guy. I've met him a few times. He works at Money Metals Exchange, which is right here in Idaho. There we go. We have a personal email. So that goes there. Mail to, got to put the colon in there. There we go. Idaho4rob@gmail.com. So when this says personal email, this isn't like their personal emails, in case anyone gets worried. This is if they have a publicly available email. That is not their legislative email. And that's just in case you want another way of getting a hold of them. And it's a way that they have already put out there as inviting people to talk to them. I'm not going to go, if I happen to have any legislators' actual personal private emails, I'm not going to publish those, obviously. So that's official email. Let's see, we need his Ballotpedia page. Ballotpedia is an awesome resource in case you've never used it. This is where it's at. Hey, remember, Beiswinger actually ran against Matt Bundy, Representative Bundy, former Representative Bundy, 2 years ago and lost. It was fairly close. But then this time around, he came back and won it by even more than he lost before. So good for him. Copy that. Don't need Senator Carlson anymore. All right, we still need Sunshine, Facebook, and Twitter. So Facebook, let's see, that should be linked from his campaign website. Maybe. Maybe not. Contact. No. Well, it's usually linked on Ballotpedia, so let's find it there. There we go. Campaign website, Twitter. Dang it. For some reason, okay, I don't know why Twitter and Facebook just locked me out. I hate that, but it did. So let's put those there, Facebook. And for Twitter, I'll just hover and copy it. And then Sunshine. Sunshine, go away today. Beiswinger. So Rob Beiswinger raised $41,000 this year, or for this campaign. Yeah, good for him. There we go. So these are all filled up, and there you go. If you have anything you want to talk about or questions, just put it up in the chat, and I will do my best to answer. So the next part is the thing I'm actually most excited about with these new Idaho Insider pages. If I can find my tabs here. I've got way too many windows open. There we are. No, that's not it. What page am I looking for? This one? That one. Okay. So here, I'll bring it over here so you can see what I'm doing. So this is the plugin. I mentioned it when I was muted. That allows me to list articles I've published at the Gem State Chronicle about certain keywords. So the idea is, and I was showing this on Senator Carlson's page, because that's the last one I made before this one, is that from the Idaho Insider, you'll be able to see what I've written about this person in the past. Let's see, got to change this to full-size resolution. For some reason, and this is just a weird quirk, when I make the map large size under WordPress here, it is smaller on the desktop, but it's larger on mobile. Whereas when I set it to full size, it's a little bit bigger on desktop, but on mobile, it looks right. It's constrained in the width of your phone, which is what it should be. So just little things I've discovered through trial and error. Align center, that's good. All right, so I go over here, add new view. I'm going to call this one Rob Beiswanger. And I'm going to sort by and do a keyword search. So you can actually use this plugin to find all sorts of posts from your own site, from my site, and display them in many different ways. So I'm going to say I'm going to sort them by publish date descending. So newest first. Keyword is Rob Beiswanger. Make sure I spell it right, otherwise it won't work. And I do a preview, and looks like I've got one article about him, but it's just showing the thumbnail. So I'm going to come down to display settings, tell it to make a list, hide everything but the title, and then enable pagination. So update the preview, and this is what it's going to look like. So just the one article. Pagination will come into effect when there's more than 5 articles. That way, it won't take up the entire screen. It'll just show 5 links, and then you can press a little button and go to the next page and show 5 more, etc. I'm going to save that, and then come over here, save this, because the shortcode here doesn't actually know that I've put in that new view. So I need to refresh after saving. And then I come down here, add a new block, and it's going to be content views is the name of the plugin, and choose Beiswanger. And there we go. And that's the one link of this one story I've mentioned him in this year. I'm sure there will be more as we start the new session. Hope this is all very interesting and entertaining. Like I said, if you have anything you want to talk about, just let me know. I'm glad to have this new setup so that I can do stuff like this. Spend a few minutes with everybody, just chatting and talking politics. So I'm going to save that. And we're going to go view, make sure it looks right. Also open it up on the phone, make sure it looks right on the phone. Come down here. So there we go on here. It looks good. And it looks good on the phone too. So is that mirrored? Nope, not mirrored. Okay, yeah, you can read it there. So there we go. That is Representative Beiswanger. So now I move on to House 8B. And this, I just keep doing this over and over and over. We've got Faye Thompson here. Representative Faye Thompson. This, by the way, the thing that you see at the top, you can see it on the phone really well, where you can just go to the next one or the previous one. That's actually this code here. There's no simple way in WordPress to do it, so I found a raw code that'll do it. So Idaho State Legislature. So just a few more weeks until the legislature comes into session, and it's going to be pretty exciting. Obviously, you know, I think looking back after the leadership elections and the committees, I came to the conclusion that I think conservative expectations were a little bit high. Just because I think a lot of people expected that we were essentially going to run the table after some primary election victories. But at this point, I think conservatives in the legislature are a very powerful faction, especially if they can stick together and work together. Let's see what she's using for her actual picture. I might use this one for now. It's not very good. It's not very high res, but it'll do for now until they get their official pictures. The picture I ended up using for primary polls was just a picture of her with Secretary of State Phil McGrain signing her papers to enter the race. Let's see, Faye Thompson, House 8B. Turn that into a heading and put it in the center. And then that's going to be the bio. And then over here is our template, which I pull from this other window. Party Republican. Don't try and type too fast. Over here, I've got her legislative site. So committees, business, environment, energy, technology, and health and welfare. Health and welfare, that's going to be an interesting committee this year. Over on the Senate side, that's probably their most conservative committee, and the House side is going to be fairly conservative as well. So again, like I was saying, I think we had expectations that were maybe a little bit too high. And we conservatives, Idaho conservatives, are a very powerful force in the legislature now, much more powerful than in the past. But we're not so powerful that we just run the table. over in Wyoming, the Wyoming Freedom Caucus actually took over a majority of the legislature, and they elected one of their own as speaker. And so I think a lot of people were looking at that and saying, well, let's do that in Idaho too. We're not quite there yet. There's a few more seats, I think, that you can pick up, switch a moderate to a conservative. But whatever's going to happen there, it's not going to happen for 2 years. So this is what we have to deal with now for the next 2 years. And so we need to do our best to keep conservatives united on the big issues and then work to persuade those who are, in the middle. There are more members of, there are more members and fellow travelers of the various iterations of the Idaho Freedom Caucus than there are Democrats. And I think there are more Freedom Caucus types than there are Main Street Caucus. So conservatives form the biggest single block of united legislators. But that doesn't mean they're a majority. And you see that with the committee makeups. All those Main Street Caucus folks and all those folks in the middle, the ones that we sometimes aren't too sure about, they've got to go on committees too. So it is what it is, and we will do our best. So where was I? Oh yeah, bio for Faye Thompson, put that there. And then news is going to come up after that. And that's going to be a heading. And then down there. All right, since this is her first elected 2024. She obviously has no history on here. By the way, if you haven't already, remember you can take the platform quiz and the IACI quiz. I modeled them exactly the same as the real ones. The platform rating was the Institute for Legislative Analysis came up and took 40 bills and evaluated them. And I mirrored that exactly and mirrored the math exactly so that if you take that quiz, it'll tell you exactly where you score. Not exactly, it'll tell you your range. And then what other legislators score in that same range. And then the same thing with the IACI quiz. You can take that and it'll tell you exactly where you score as well and which legislators you are most like. So those are fun features. I think I'll put them up on the top menu here soon. Make a link for quizzes just so people can access them anytime. All right, Faye Thompson, legislative website is here. And let's find her campaign website is here. FayeThompsonForIdaho.com. And let's see if we can find a Facebook link, or I don't see anything there, but let's go to Ballotpedia. You can see that there. Solid Republican victory and a pretty good little victory here over Representative Blanksma. That was honestly one of the surprises. Not to take anything away from Representative Thompson, but Megan Blanksma going into the last session was the House majority leader. She was pretty powerful, and unlike her seatmates, former Representative Matt Bundy and former Senator Jeff Schroeder, she didn't vote against House Bill 71 in 2023, the bill to ban gender mutilation of children, which that was a big issue that people in District 8 reacted against. When 2 of their 3 legislators voted against protecting children from that, they were gone. But Blanksma did not vote against that, and so it was a question: was the rising tide going to lift all 3 conservatives in District 8? And thankfully, yes, the answer was yes. And Faye Thompson won. So what am I looking for? Campaign website? No, I already got that. Personal Facebook is not there. Yeah, for some reason, Facebook locked me out. I don't know why. I'm still logged into my other tab. It's very weird, but I can look for her over here. Faye Thompson. There's her personal page. And it looks like most of her posts are public. So I will go ahead and link it. If somebody's got a Facebook page and it's all set to private or something, I'm not going to link to that. Okay, and Sunshine Thompson. Neil Thompson, Faye Thompson, Jared Thompson, Kyle Thompson. Obviously, we're looking for Faye Thompson. Put that there. Ballotpedia is over here. Legislative email is here. So I put that as official email, mail to, boop. And let's see if she has a personal email somewhere on her say on our campaign website, contact. It's just a form. What about her Facebook page? No. Okay, so it doesn't look like she has a different email that is public. So it's like a public personal email. And since she doesn't have that, I'm just going to leave that empty. Delete that. Appreciate Faye Thompson for taking the time to talk to me for one of my candidate interviews. Looking forward to doing more interviews now that I've got this great little setup. Oh, I could have just come here and grabbed it. Oh, well. Delete that and that and that, and there we go. Make sure this is set to full size. Make sure this is set to centered. It is. Okay. Now I just need to make the news feed. So I come back over here, add new. Faye Thompson. Sort by keyword, sort by publish date, descending. Keyword is Faye Thompson. Go to display, set to list, only show title, and enable pagination. It's going to look like that. Excellent. And it'll link to the candidate interview, which is very cool. So save. I don't need to copy the link yet. I need to refresh. Add content views, and add Faye Thompson. And there we go. Save. I'll check it on the phone too, make sure it looks good. All right, House 8B. There we go, looks good. This is fun. This is I'm excited about this. I think this is going to be a great resource for everybody. So you could see how the pagination works. It's got these 5. So leadership matters, and talking about how she was one of the new legislators. Press release issued by Senator Zeiderfeld and several others of the freshmen about the salary increase. A news story about Yao. Our essay about the day after the primaries. And of course, candidate interview. You come back here. I co-hosted Freedom Bros with Dustin Hurst, and we actually interviewed Faye Thompson then. Thursday roundup. I do the roundups on Saturdays now, but I used to do it on different days back before. And Valley County, I addressed the Valley County Lincoln Day dinner, and Faye Thompson was or I think still is, the chair of the Valley County Republicans. And so I got to meet her there. So that's how that works. It's very cool. You can see the latest news about any particular legislator, as well as their district. I think District 8 is the largest by geography. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 counties stretching all the way from, way over here, eastern edge of Custer County, all the way down here to Elmore County and Boise County. So you just, I'm right here in District 14, Eagle. You just drive up the road to Horseshoe Bend and you're in District 8. It goes all the way up to McCall. Crazy big. All right, next up is Senate 8, which of course is the one and only Senator Christy Zito. So I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but Senator Brian Lenny announced that he's going to step away from the Idaho Freedom Caucus. Obviously, they've been having some divisions. I have not said a lot about that because basically I just want to let them play it out. Anyway, Senator Lenny says he's stepping away, not out of any disagreements with anybody. He just wants to do his own thing. So we'll see how that goes. That really is the conundrum of conservatism, isn't it? Because to really hammer things in politics, you need to form coalitions. You need to form groups of people who will work together. But at the same time, we as conservatives, we don't necessarily like taking orders from other people. We want to do our own thing. And in the case of legislators, doing their own thing means listening first to their constituents and not to outside groups. And of course, outside groups are always trying to get people to vote certain ways. And that doesn't mean they're bad. Whether it's IACI saying, we want you to vote this way because the way it will impact our businesses, or Idaho Freedom Foundation saying, we want you to vote this way because of the way it'll impact personal freedom. You still have all these voices in your ear trying to get you to go one way or the other. And then you've got lobbyists and, powerful figures and fellow legislators and the governor's office. They're all pushing you in one way or the other. And so I imagine it must get stressful. So I can definitely see why he wants to step away and just maintain focus on really why he's there, the people who elected him. All right, so Senator Zito had a heading, Idaho State Legislature. Make it center, make it big. Come down and add columns. This column thing is very cool. So it's I'm making them 25, 50, 25 for the purposes here. Image, media library. Zito. There she is. Make sure she's in the center. This is a previous picture. Obviously, Christy Zito served in both the House and the Senate before, and now she's come back. So that means she has previous pictures in the same format. And she was very nice to talk to me as well. I really felt she was one of the. I mean, it's kind of cheating to say that she was one of the best candidates this year because she's been there before. She knows how it works, but she's just tremendously good at articulating conservative principles, and I remember that from our conversation. She did that really well. I came away ready to vote for her. Obviously, I don't live in District 8, and I would have voted for her anyway, but still. Party Republican committees. I've got this up now. She's the vice chair of agricultural affairs under Senator Tammy Nichols. That's going to be a fun committee. In case you missed it, last Friday, I was joined by former Senator Steve Thane and Senator Nichols on the first episode of the Gem State Report, which is, consciously kind of an echo of Idaho Reports, the Idaho Public TV production. No copyright infringement or anything. It's just a round table where I get people who made news or had something interesting happen. I'm going to bring them together and just talk about the latest news coming in once the legislative session starts. So that'll be Friday evenings. There will be a Friday evening in January. I want to say it's the 17th. Where's my calendar? Yeah, Friday, January 17th, I will be out. I've been invited to go to Eastern Idaho and speak to some groups. And that's going to be really exciting. Stay tuned for more information on that, especially if you're in Eastern Idaho and we can get together for coffee or to hang out. And by coffee, I mean tea. All right, where was I? History. All right, this is an interesting one. So technically, this is her first term. Served 2 terms. House, 2020. Into 2020, served 1 term Senate, 2020 to 2022. So it's really her 4th term, but it's also her first term. It's the way they do it on the legislative website. So I'm just going to echo that. And obviously she has no 2024 scorecards because she was not in the legislature in 2024. Senator Zito stepped away after 2022 to work with Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. She did some lobbying. Not all lobbyists are bad. She was lobbying for gun rights. And then after seeing, I think, the way Senator Schroeder went, she really felt compelled to jump into the race. And we are all thankful she did. So legislative website goes here. Her campaign website. Where is her campaign website? There it is. ZitoForIdaho.com. Goes there. And social media. There's Facebook. She has a Twitter account. Of course she does. Hold on a second. Let me go find that. She has 2. Which one's her newest one? This one, last post was on November 14th, talking about Idaho Doge. And this one, last post was in 2023. Okay. So this one, at Zito_Christie is her current account. Let's go follow her. What else do we have? Sunshine. Let's grab Ballotpedia since it's already up right here. And Senate email. Now, how does that work? This is coming from an IT perspective here, since that's what I used to do before I got into politics. You've got your Senate email, and it's run by, I presume, someone in the LSO or somebody in the legislative office, and they're doing the IT stuff on the back end. You get access to it. You change your password to something personal. You can access it, but it's still their platform. So you've got that. You've got stuff in your inbox. But then let's say you decide not to run for re-election. So you remain, in Senator Zito's case, she finished her term the end of November, beginning of December 2022. And that's when, Senator Schroeder would have been sworn in. Right at that time, do they cut off access to it, or do you have time to continue using it to download your old stuff? I have no idea. I'm just kind of babbling here. But then in her case, now she's back. So do you think they wiped her account and she has to start from scratch, or did they leave it there and she can pick up where she left off and she's got all her old folders and all her old emails? I really have no idea. That's actually a good question to ask Senator Zito. Just kind of an off the wall question there. Let's see. Sunshine. How much money did Senator Zito raise? She raised over $60,000. Good for her. And personal email. Go over to her website. Zito for Idaho at protonmail.com. Okay, she does have one that is published, so I will put it on here. And if anyone, of course, decides that they don't want it online, and they can just come and tell me such. Her last Freedom Index score was 91.3 in 2022, which is pretty awesome. Did you all see that the IFF has changed their Freedom Index? This full size. So one of the things that they were, I think, running into last time and in previous years is that the metrics, the 12 metrics, which they're all very cool. If we go over IdahoFreedom.org, indices, metrics. So we got Freedom Index, Spending Index over here. They have 14 now, but they used to have 12. And it was all about expanding government or shrinking government, transferring a private sector to the government, government additional regulations. Does it increase barriers to market? Does it directly or indirectly create any taxes or fees? Does it increase redistribution of wealth? Does it increase government spending or debt? Does it restrict public access to information? Does it violate principle of equal protection under the law? Does it directly or indirectly create or increase penalties for victimless crimes? That's kind of a libertarian thing there, but that's okay. It's not bad. Does it violate the spirit or letter of the Constitution or Idaho Constitution? Does it violate the principles of federalism? So those were your 12 metrics going into through last year, and you got some bills, sort of like I want to say it was House Bill 498 last year. I believe Senator Ben Taves carried it. That would try and keep children from accessing hardcore pornography online. And it was the one that would require age verification. And a lot of other states have passed it as well. And in response, some of the big porn companies, they, rather than implement an age verification system, which they, obviously they don't want to do, but also they want to try and take the moral high ground, saying that they're not interested in their customers' personal privacy or whatever. They just cut off the states that passed those laws, which they did to Idaho as well. And honestly, nothing of value was lost. We don't need that garbage in our state. However, according to the original 12 metrics of the Freedom Index, that bill, I believe they rated it a -1. I could be wrong. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, there it is. Yep, -1. Why? Because it's government power over the free market. And that is, of course, true. Where conservatives and libertarians, I think, depart is that sometimes conservatives decide there should be certain government regulations on the free market. Certain ones, limited ones, small ones. And so they have this new metric. Does it promote the breakdown of traditional family or deconstruction of norms? Conversely, does it protect or uphold the structure, tenets, and traditional values of Western society? I think under that would be a plus on this bill. It would still have the minus. That's not going away, and it would end up being a 0, a wash. And so conservative legislators then would not be punished for voting for a bill like this that would protect children. And they also added one more about expanding government bureaucratic monopoly on education, reduce family or student choice, finance education based on an institution or system. Basically, they got rid of the education index because it was there were just too few views, too few bills. The sample size was way too small, so they could not really get an accurate gauge of somebody's positions on education bills because there were only 2 or 3, 4 bills each session. So they just implemented it here. I think it's a great idea. I fully support it. I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to play out in this next session. But where was I? I was Senator Zito. Okay. Yeah, put her bio there. News. Make that a header. Add the content here. Content views. I still have to make the view. So we go over to add new again. Christy Zito. Sort by and keyword. As you can see, this is a bit of a tedious thing. Keyword is Christy Zito. Just one. But I think it's not bad. I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm doing the stream, so I can chat with you while I'm doing it. Helps it stop, not be so tedious. But that way, once it's done, this is going to be fantastic. I think this is. I think this is going to be a really, really great resource. There's a lot of folks out there who do similar things, but I think this is going to be kind of the most holistic and most complete. So let's go over here. We've got Christy Zito. And what do we have? There we go. Whole list. So save. I know over in Stop Idaho Rhinos, they have the Idaho Scorecards website, and I promoted that on Twitter the other day. Honestly, if I asked the people behind it if they're going to have a way to link directly to an individual legislator on there, because right now, let's go over there, idahoscorecards.com. It just brings up a search box. Come on. Yeah, there we go. It just brings up a search box, and that's mean of them to use Senator Burns' scorecard as the example. But let's say we want to look up, obviously we're not going to find Christy Zito for 2024. Let's say Brian Lenny. Search. And there it is. And it's all his scorecards. IFF, the Freedom Index, American Conservative Union, that's CPAC, GOP Platform Rating, that's Legislative Analysis, IACI, what caucus are they? Well, not anymore. And have they pledged to support the Citizens Alliance of Idaho pledge? And yes, he has. So that just gives it all right there. And I believe they do this dynamically, which is what I need to do on my site. But once they find a way to make it so you can link directly to it, then I'll add that as a resource here on the list of resources. So I believe in connecting with as many other organizations and platforms doing what I do as possible. We're building an ecosystem. This isn't one trying to muscle out all the rest. All right, so we are good to go with Senator Zito. Let's move on to 9A, which is Representative John Schertz. He, of course, defeated Representative Jason Gallagher, which is a bummer. I really supported Representative Gallagher, but he is there now, so we will see what happens. Oh, he has a nice picture. It's kind of small, though. All right, let's go edit. Well, one thing I learned, I think it was from a Young Americans for Liberty candidate training. If you ever run for office, this is just one little thing, but it's an important thing. Go get professional photos done and put them on your website. Because there's going to be people out there like me who want to talk about you, and I need a good photo for you, good high-res photo. There's going to be political action committees, PACs out there that want to support you, and they want to put you, take your pictures and put them on mailers to say, this is the guy or this is the gal. But if you don't have good photos, they're not going to be able to do it. And obviously, you cannot work with PACs. A candidate and a PAC cannot collaborate together. But if you just put them up on your website and say, photos of me, and they're all great high-res professional photos, then they can just go there and take them and use them in their mailers and their publications to support you. Obviously, people who oppose you can do it too, but if you have good high-res photos of you looking real professional and confident, they're not going to use those. They're going to find some picture of you, in the middle of eating or something that just looks ridiculous. So that's one of those things I learned about running for office. Always have professional photos available. Idaho State Legislature. So when I was putting together Primary Pulse, I tried to find the best pictures I could of everybody, and I could not actually find a super great picture of now Representative Schertz. Columns. However, he had this picture on there. I think he's standing with his wife in front of a flag, which is nice. But when I'm just trying to make a picture of him, I had to kind of crop it carefully. It doesn't look quite right, but he's got this picture up here now, so this will do. Delete. Come over here, center, heading, John Schertz, House 9A. Heading 1, center, come down here. All right, and I've got his bio there. He is your 5th generation Idahoan. And go over to the template and grab this stuff. Party Republican. His committees are Agricultural Affairs, Judiciary, Rules and Administration, and Revenue and Taxation. Rev and Tax is going to be a big one this year because if they go ahead with their school choice bill, it's probably going to follow the pattern last year did as a tax credit, which means it will go through the Rev and Tax committees. It failed in the House Revenue and Taxation last year. Are there enough new conservatives to help it pass? I don't know. It's going to be close. It's going to require a lot of persuasion. And it's going to require a lot of people who support school choice, like you, to get down to the Capitol and testify and say why we need it. Last year, there was a fellow who testified. He was a man talking about how the sacrifices he was making to get his children into school. Expensive, drives an hour every day, but it was worth it. It was important to him, and he thinks that this would have been a good thing to help him out. It was good testimony. Unfortunately, the committee still killed the bill, but that's what we need. We need people out there telling their own stories, why this will help, why this is a good thing for Idaho families. History, first term, first elected, 2024. Obviously no scorecards. Legislative website, campaign website, Shirts for Idaho. That can also be a name of a themed apparel company. Facebook, Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter, even though Elon wants us to call it X. Oh well. Ballotpedia. John Schertz raised $106,000. It's insane how much you have to raise to win some of these races these days. Official email. And personal email. Shirtsforidaho@gmail.com. There it is. All right, now let's save that and come over to create the news view. John Schertz. Sort by keyword. Publish descending. John Schertz. Display list. Only the title. And enable pagination. Save. Come over here. Refresh. Content views. And I like how it puts the newest one up at the top. It makes it easier. No posts. Well, I guess I'll have to write about him then. All right, is that everything? Oh, I still need to delete all the stuff down here. And make this full size. All right, beautiful, isn't it? I'm really excited about this site. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Well, so if anybody's still here who joined me in the beginning and, I didn't realize I wasn't, for 10 minutes was not making any noise. Thank you for hanging out all this time. Let's double check it on the website, make sure it works. Oh, I forgot to double check Senator Zito's, but she's good to go. I'm really happy with how this looks on mobile. And there's John Schurtz. There we go. And we're good on other way, that way. Site there. All right, I'm going to call that good for now. I've been on here for nearly an hour. I'll keep working on this later. I need to get back and work on today's Substack article, which is I'm going to be announcing the Gem State Chronicle Statesman and Stateswoman of the Year. Last year, I started this tradition when it was still just Gem State Substack. And last year, it was former Eagle Mayor Jason Pierce, who I felt really put his career on the line to do what he felt was right and what he felt would maintain the conservative character of Eagles community for generations to come, even though he knew it was going to possibly cost him his job. And it did. And I thought that was very, just a great thing. And so he was my Statesman of the Year, and Stateswoman of the Year was Senator Glenita Zeiderfeld, who, she did a lot of work to expose corruption. She exposed the malfeasance going on in the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. She also was one of the first legislators to really take a stand against the Lava Ridge wind farm. So she did a lot of great stuff in her freshman year, and now she's back for a second year, which is incredible. So you'll have to stay tuned to find out who the 2024 Statesman and Stateswoman of the Year are. And I'll end the stream and get to work on that right away. See y'all later. Thanks for joining me today.